Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of TEVaDrive, and this time around we are driving this 2024 Mercedes EQE SUV AMG, very long name. We previously drove the regular EQE 500. This is the top of the line version, AMG version, with over 600 horsepower, priced from 129,000 plus options. And so let us give you a bit of a walk around while the weather is still nice. Later on this week it's going to be colder and raining. We are now in kind of a mid-April, so it's a mix of winter and summer weather. Yesterday it was plus 22 here. Today, this morning, it was only plus 5, didn't go above plus 8. So anyways, back to the walk around of this EQE SUV AMG. As you can see, it's equipped with 22-inch tires, which are 275 wide. Let us see if they are staggered. So the front is 275, the rear, and they just changed these tires from the winters to all seasons. Let us have a look and see the size. No, they are 275, 35, 22, and both front and rear, so they are not staggered. You can see the rear view. You have a unibrow, same as the regular EQE. So there's some AMG badging, such as this one on the back here. You have the running boards, and of course these 22-inch rims are part of the AMG package. Here you have the same windshield washer filler, the unusual spot that Mercedes is famous for. And yeah, so you see another AMG badging here in front, and the blanked out grille with the unibrow LEDs here in the front as well. Let us jump in on the inside and show you the interior space of the car. It's very similar, of course, obviously almost identical to the regular EQE 500. However, that one that we test drove recently did not have the hyper screen. So here is the famous Mercedes-Benz MBUX hyper screen. Stretches all the way to the passenger side with a third screen. And we've previously given you the rundown of the MBUX screen, so we won't go through it again. Nice carbon fiber cover for the cup holders. You have a wireless phone charger, two USB-C plugs, and another spot to put an additional phone which is not charging, with two cup holders. Start stop button here. The AMG performance, basically as soon as you have to turn the car on. So let us turn the car on, and there you go. That's the sound of the AMG starting. So when you press the AMG button, it gives you this selection to do your settings for drive, suspension, sound, etc., etc. The different driving modes, you operate them using the button here, which is basically your this is your slippery conditions, individual, sport, and sport plus. Does not have eco mode like the regular EQE. There's only comfort, sport, and sport plus. Of course, you can have it on individual as well. And that's the basic difference with the regular EQE. The red stitching all around. We of course set the LED ambient lighting also to red to match. You have these red seat belts as well, which tell you you're in an AMG car. Same beautiful huge sunroof that opens up and tilts with the nice sunshade as well. Okay, so let us show you quickly the rear space, and again it's pretty much gonna be the same as the regular EQE, but let's do it anyways. Some of you may not want to watch. There's the Burmester sound system upgraded, more AMG packaging here, AMG badging rather, sorry. The seats are also sports seats, which are AMG specific. Here's the rear screen for climate for the rear passengers. Quite a bit of room. Of course, this car has been designed from the ground up as electric. It's on a dedicated platform, so it has very similar space to the EQS SUV, which has the added advantage of having a third row. For those of you that don't need the third row, more seats, then the EQE is really the way to go. Of course, the EQE AMG has a smaller battery. It's a 90 kilowatt hour battery versus over 100 kilowatt hours on the EQS SUV. So that's the other difference from the EQS SUV that we have tested recently. Other than that, beautiful interior. Here's the trunk. So let us show you the trunk space. Again, quite a lot of space for your feet and for my legs, no problem. Same with the headroom, no problem with the headroom in the back. Very spacious. Okay, let us show you the trunk space very briefly. Beautiful unibrow again in the back. The way you open this, of course, is by pressing the Mercedes logo. And here's the substantial trunk. So we have to tell you, because we just drove the S580e plug-in hybrid, and this is a much bigger trunk than the S580, which is compromised by the presence of the battery, the very large 29 kilowatt hour battery for a plug-in hybrid at least. And we were only able to fit one large suitcase and one carry-on in the trunk of that. Here, no such problem. And of course, you also can fold down 40-20-40 split of the rear bench to increase your storage space. A bit of storage space under the floor as well. More space over there with your emergency tire kit and a pump. That pump did not work very well when we were low on one of the tires. So for whatever reason, better get your own pump. So that's about it. Let's see if the car has, yes, it has a foot swipe. And there we go. That's about it for the walk around. And we're gonna shoot the next part with the driving part, including the results of our test after we do the hypermile exercise tomorrow. And we'll be doing it from the usual Midland area all the way to almost Owen Sound, a round trip about 200 kilometers, and then back to Toronto. So we'll give you a full report on Facebook as usual, and that's going to be part of this video as well. So stay tuned. We'll give you the full rundown of our impressions and test results on the highway. You can tell you already that on the highway the consumption was pretty decent, of 23 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So we will try and bring it under 20 on the hypermile driving on the side roads where the speed limit is lower. And we'll see if we'll need climate tomorrow because it's going to be rainy and colder. That's about it. And so stay tuned for next part, the driving part of this test, and we'll see you there. Okay, so here we are inside a 2024 Mercedes EQE SUV AMG. Very long name. As we mentioned, equipped with 617 horsepower, 3.5 seconds 0 to 100. So this is a top-of-the-line EQE SUV. And what we can also mention, so that the starting price for this one is $129. As equipped is $148. So there's got, as usual, with all the press cars, it's equipped with all the possible options. So 20 grand worth of options. So as you see it here, it's almost 150 grand, but it starts at 129, which actually is cheaper than a comparable gas. For example, GLE.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Okay, sorry. The Mercedes is listening as always for your instructions and verbal commands. So it's actually cheaper than an E-Class E63 AMG, and it's cheaper than a GLE 63 AMG. This being an SUV, so it's actually a great deal price-wise. It's a phenomenal car. It's very quick. Again, 3.5 seconds. It's a spacious car because it's an SUV. You can get a EQE AMG sedan version of this car. Now, what has just been announced yesterday, I believe, is that all of the EQS and all of the EQE Mercedes cars, both sedans and SUVs, will be upgraded with larger battery. In the case of the EQS sedan and SUV, it's going from 108 to 118, so 10 kilowatt hours more, which is about 11%, which gives you about 70 kilometers extra range in WLTP rating, which will be less, probably around 50 extra kilometers in the EPA rating system, but it's great news. So you will have even more range. Now this particular car, the rated range is about 380. At most we saw about 410 kilometers showing it full at 100%. What we can tell you is that after driving it, we tried, as usual, we always test it on the highway followed by a hypermile test. So on the highway, when the weather was good, it was around plus 10. We got a result on our usual route from Toronto to Georgian Bay, which is 150 kilometers long, along the 400, and then a piece of side road as well. And of course, I'm driving in Toronto on the Toronto streets. We got a consumption of around 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is pretty good for a fairly sizable SUV and a performance SUV at that, with this AMG version with, you know, over 600 horses. Then we attempted something similar along the shores of the Georgian Bay, which we always do, from Midland to Collingwood, and the consumption was not any better. Actually, we then drove all the way back to Toronto using side roads. Mind you, yes, there was a strong southwesterly headwind on the way back to Toronto, and there was also heavy rain, so the wipers, both front and back, were working tirelessly non-stop pretty much. So, and that affects the range as well as the presence of the you know, rainwater on the roads. So that can skew the results. But, you know, that being said, we didn't get a result any better than the highway result. So that was just about 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So in other words, this is a highway car. It's not a city car. Now, what we can also tell you, that every single time when we had short trips within the city, the consumption was almost 40 or over 40 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So again, on short city hops, you're gonna see a very high consumption in electric mode. Well, this is a pure electric car, so that's the only mode. And we were driving in comfort. So like right now we're in comfort. What we're gonna demonstrate to you is the other modes. This is the AMG car. So if you want to change the modes, you have these two buttons here where you can change. You can see C for comfort, then you press it once, you actually turn it, then you have a slippery mode, then now it's individual, and now we're in sport. So actually you're gonna get more aggressive sounds of the artificial engine sounds. There you go. And then there's a Sport Plus. So turn it once again, turns red. You see the S Plus here, and it's pretty loud. So this is the loudest, obviously, in a Sport Plus mode. So here on the left, on the AMG cars only, so these are specifically only for AMG cars, these two Monetinos, as we call them in Italian. On the left hand side you have the suspension settings and the ESP settings, so you can turn them off. You have two paddles here. You have AMG Dynamics or standard Dynamics, right? There you go. And the ESP on or off, and the same with the suspension. You have the Sport Plus suspension or just a regular suspension. So you can adjust all that using these extra two buttons that don't exist on the regular EQE SUV. Only AMG gets those. So yeah, right now in Sport Plus, like you can see, is quite loud. So these sounds, and even when you're stopped, you can still hear it, and it's pretty aggressive, and it's the loudest in the Sport Plus. So let's put it back, much quieter in Sport and pretty quiet in Comfort. There you go. It's almost, you can still hear a bit of a sound, but it's very discreet. Anyways, what is this car up against? It's up against the iX60M, which is priced similarly, also just over 120 grand. The iX feels a bit bigger, especially in the trunk size, but they are both, you know, fairly similar size, similar price. So it really depends what and the performance specifications are also quite similar. Both sub 4-second acceleration, similar price. So after having driven both cars, you can check out our iX60M video on our YouTube channel. You will find that these will be cross-shopped very often. Also up against the Tesla Model X, For that price, now after the recent price reductions, you can also get Tesla Model X Plaid, very close to this price anyways. So which has even better performance. That's basically less than 2.5 seconds, so it's almost a full second better than both the BMW and Mercedes. So those three most likely will be cross-shopped. Of course, the interior appointments are quite a bit different in the BMW and Mercedes versus the Tesla cars, even with the recent improvements. And the Model X Plaid and General Model X is due for some facelift and improvements in the next probably near future. But in the meantime, that's the main competition, that those three cars will be cross-shop. Now, the Q6 e-tron has just also been revealed, and that will come, what would be the equivalent of this would be the RS Q6 e-tron, which hasn't been launched for now. We just have the base versions launched. The SQ6 and the RSQ6 have not been launched yet, so they don't even exist yet. And of course, you have the Macan EV with over 600 horses, which is a high performance electric SUV. But the Macan, we haven't test driven it yet, but we feel that the Macan EV is quite a bit smaller than this EQE and the iX, so it wouldn't be maybe direct competition. But again, some people may cross-shop them and choose one of them. And again, the Macan EV, the performance version, the top end would be also above $120,000 here in Canada. So that's about it for our results and our impressions. Again, I encourage you to test drive it. You should be able to find an EQE sedan, EQE SUV, and an EQE AMG SUV, which this is, at your local Mercedes dealer. So if you have any questions regarding this test or this comparison, do not hesitate to comment under this video, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And as usual, do not forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be informed when the next video will be available. And we have lots more videos of pure electric and plug-in hybrid cars and SUVs coming to our channel very soon. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you at the next review.